Boston College certainly has been active in the transfer portal, but they shouldn't be done yet.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. Happy Christmas Eve, everyone. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. If you folks don't know me, I'm AJ Black. I'm the head of Eagle Insider, the editor and publisher over there. Check out my work. I'm also the host of this great podcast. I've been hosting it since 2020. Thank you all who have made us your first listen every day. On today's show, I'm going to give you my Christmas wish list for BC Athletics. I'll go through each of the teams and talk about what I would love to see them do in 2025. Why Boston College can still beat Nebraska even if Donovan Ezeiruaku doesn't play. And I'm going to look at the portal needs as BC has 6, soon to be 7 commitments in the portal. So let's kick this off with some good old portal talk. Now, Boston College has 7 portal members committed and signed to their class already. Obviously the biggest name that they've landed so far has been Dylan Lonergan, the quarterback from Alabama, but they've also landed some other names as well, a lot of FCS players. So we've talked at length about, the additions of like Anye Nwisi, Amir Johnson, Chuck Nato, VJ Wilkins, Zeke Moore. We've heard all about these guys already. And clearly, one big thing that they've been looking at is retooling the depth on the defensive side of the ball. You're losing Donovan Ezeiruaku. You're losing Neto Paula. You need edge rushers. You've also needed some depth up front with that defensive tackle position. So where else does Boston College need to address in this portal? What else do they need to get? Because there's still a ton of guys out there, and I don't think BC's done. I think they're done for a little bit right now because it looks like things are quieting down. They're not going to have guys on visits, A, when the team is at the Pinstripe Bowl, and B, during Christmas break. It's just not, Christmas, the holiday itself. They'll have them after the break. But right now, things are a little bit quieter. But, when you're looking at what BC needs, what do they still need to add on to? Now, we don't know exactly the numbers because of the additions of going up to 105 in terms of the roster size and how they're going to balance all of that with scholarship versus walk-ons. It's going to be challenging, and I don't have the numbers, but I can go back to what Bill O'Brien said. Bill O'Brien said earlier this week on one of the John Mita Perrell media appearances that he does, that BC has 8 to 10 is the number that they're looking at. So you could get anywhere from 2 more total to 4 more. And I know one is going to announce on Tuesday. I apologize. He told me I had heard from the school and from the kid that he was going to commit on Monday. He did not. Things happen. They announce they want to do things their own way. It's one day. You're going to have to wait. But that'll be 1. That'll be up to 7. Okay. Now, where else could Boston College go? Now, there's 2 big pieces that I think BC still needs to address. And one of them I feel like is a long shot, and the other one's just not sexy. I'm just going to say it. First of all, the one that I'm not confident that they're going to address is the linebacker position. You're losing Cam Arnold after the season. You're losing Joe Marinaro, who was the Cinderella story of this year. You have coming back. Owen McGowan and Davion Crouch. And then you're adding in Bryce Steele, who there's a great article today by Trevor Haas, if you want to check that out, about his comeback from cancer and everything that he's gone through. Definitely go check that out. It's a good read. And then you have Jalen Blackwell, who's also coming back, but his is from a pretty significant knee injury. So you have those guys. You also have guys like Palawe Foha. I apologize if I'm messing his name up. And Kamori Dixon. Both younger guys. Foa has pushed up the depth chart. I could see him with a little bit more seasoning, jumping up. Dixon, I know the staff is really high on. But that being said, I would love to see them add one more established linebacker. I think that would be the cherry on top. And one name that popped up that I was surprised they weren't even interested in was AJ Penna from Rhode Island, who was one of the best players on that team. They've been going after FCS players, but they didn't. He said he had an offer, but I had heard he did not. I have not seen BC linked to linebackers. So I know folks love to beat that drum. They beat it and beat it and beat it. Um, but I'm not sure that they're going to. I would love to see it. I love the two linebackers they have coming in, but they're younger, right? Griffin Collins and Zachary Thomas. Zachary Thomas is going to be stud. I love the way he plays. He was getting major interest, but when he signed with BC, you can thank Mac Brown for retiring or getting fired or whatever happened, because Thomas, I thought, could have, if they pushed, that would have been tough. Got those two coming in, but that being said, it feels like just one more, because you got two question marks: Bryce Steele, Jalen Blackwell. Hopefully they can get to 100%, but there's a chance they may not. It's just the roll of the dice. You lost Sayoni Hala, you lost Owen McGowan, you lost Cam Arnold. You need to add some depth there. I think that would be one place if I was going to add one more spot. The other position I think I would love to see them add to is punter. I mean, I feel like this is like, if you're listening to this at home, you're probably yelling that when I said there's a position that you need a punter. You can't go into next year with Andy Quinn, a freshman from Ireland, who Bill O'Brien has been very positive about. I guess he's won punting competitions over in Europe. He did it in front of 50,000 people, so he's had that experience. But I go back to, he's a true freshman. He's from another country. And if he does not work, you then go back to the other cast of characters that you had this year. You're back to Ivan Savenko and Sam Candati. Both of them, I've not heard either of them are entering the portal. So I know you don't want to have four punters, but man, you got to get at least two new guys, new faces into this group, because you can't go into there next year having Liam Connor doing everything again. I mean, you can look, there's plenty. I saw at least two Ivy League punters. You can get them to be preferred walk-ons if you have to, if it's a roster crunch, but you got to get somebody else in here. You cannot go into next year with just your answer to what was basically a complete disaster on special teams. Your answer being a freshman from Ireland. You need to have a little bit more depth there. So that's something. Now, that I think will be more realistic. I think that I have not heard punters, but I feel like recruitment in special teams, sometimes it goes in silence and you don't hear about it as much. So there could be someone I just don't know about. But I also think the other piece that you're going to see, and I definitely know that they're still doing it, is looking for more depth on both lines. Like they're working on building the trenches right now. Defensive line, edge, interior. They're looking at everything on the lines. I think they're trying to build up the depth there so that they have guys that can compete. With the offensive line, we have mentioned before that the classes have been smaller than you would expect for the offensive line. Like you'd expect bigger groups, and it just has been small. So maybe this is a chance to get a couple guys there. Wouldn't be the worst thing. You have guys that are probably ready to play and step up. I think folks are just sleeping on, Ryan Mickow and Michael Crounce and Eric Stoggerty, Otto Hess, Jack Funk, those types of guys. It's their turn. And one thing that Matt Applebaum has done really well, and this is a big part of his job, and I think he's done excellent with it, is developing guys. Look how much better Jack Conley got this year. Look how much better Drew Kendall has come over the last couple of years. Look how much better Dwayne Alec is. Like, you may not like his recruiting, and I think there's complaints to be made there. But one thing he does is he's excellent at developing players. So I still think they should get depth there, but I think you should also be aware that there's guys that could jump up and they're ready. They're ready. They're there. And same thing on the defensive line. Like, I know that they're still looking at defensive edges. I think they want at least two, maybe three, which makes sense because you have, like right now this year, you had Donovan Ezeiruaku, Neto Ekpala, Q Hutchins, and then a giant shrug emoji. That was it. You didn't, Edwin Kalengi didn't really play all that much. You didn't see Josiah Griffin. You didn't see any of it. I don't know if Clive Wilson is ever going to play because I know he's been hurt and hopefully he gets better. They've been moving Gilbert Tongrangu all over the place. Three defensive edge rushers wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. So keep your eyes open on that one. Now, in a moment, let's get to the Pinstripe Bowl. We've talked about it before, but I want to talk a little bit more. with opt-outs and the unclarity around it, I want to talk about why BC can still beat Nebraska even if Donovan Ezeiruaku doesn't play. I'll explain that in just a moment. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get into the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It's thrilling. Give me that Zay Flowers anytime touchdown score. I love it, and I'm all over that. So not only can you bet on who will win the game, but you can also bet on see how much points each team will score, and so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black, and I want to send a special Christmas thank you to every single person who has subscribed to our YouTube channel. Yesterday, we surpassed 2,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Now, that blows my mind because we're a small little Boston College podcast. Yes, I'm probably one of the only guys that does this regularly, but for you guys all to lock in and listen every day, it means the world to me. So Merry Christmas to you all, and thank you all who have subscribed to our channel. Now, on Saturday, Boston College is set to play Nebraska at noon in Yankee Stadium. Now, I just saw a new weather report that looks like rain, so let's go crazy here because we've had snow, we've had wind, we've had freezing cold in the last two Pinstripe Bowl games. Let's add rain to the mix on a baseball field, which just like Lewis Bond said, I'm not a fan of, but we'll deal with it, right? Now, the biggest question going into this game for Boston College is the opt-outs. Nebraska has been hammered by the transfer portal. They've lost a ton of talent on that defensive side of the ball, the side of the ball that they're the most talented at, including coaches, positional coaches. They've gotten gutted. But for BC, the bigger question for them is going to be the opt-outs. BC hasn't gotten hit all that hard with transfer portal guys. You could argue, Ryan Turner, Sione Hala, like maybe, but like they weren't really playing all that much. I mean, like Turner would play, but you got Max Tucker and Bryce Queese Brown back. He's not he's like the fifth cornerback on your team. Nebraska's losing a lot more than that. But BC could be losing an even bigger piece if Donovan Ezeiruaku doesn't play. Now, on Monday, Bill O'Brien gave an update saying he's not going to talk about it, which, as I said on this podcast, probably 5 times since they've been to this bowl game, been announced to go to this bowl game. Don't expect him to say anything because it's a strategic advantage for them not to know. Because if you have to game scheme for Donovan Ezeiruaku, then you're wasting time doing something where he may not even play. So I think that BC it's going to be a tougher battle without Ezeiruaku because he makes everyone around him better. Like when they're spending so much time trying to slow him down, it lets guys like Q Hutchins or Ty Clemens or some of these interior guys do more things and let some of Tim Lewis's more exotic blitzes work because then you have to deal with that on top of Ezeiruaku. So there's a lot of things that go into that. I don't know. I've said all along, I don't expect Donovan Ezeiruaku to play. If I was a betting man, I would bet that. I saw that there was a award ceremony in Boston for, I think it was Defensive Player of the Year in the New England or what. I don't know what it was, but Bill O'Brien accepted for Donovan Ezeiruaku, who wasn't there. So, I mean, if he was in Boston, I would assume he would go to that. So, say what you will there. So I don't expect him to play, but I still think Boston College could win this game. I think BC's offense specifically is playing at such a high level that a shredded Nebraska defense, who still has talent, believe me, they're going to be talented, is going to have a hard time catching up with. And I think Nebraska's offense isn't as good as BC's. I'll be frank with you right there. look at what Boston College did in the month of November. You know, Grayson James unlocked a huge part of this offense. So the BC was averaging over 30 points a game in that month. And that was against teams like SMU, Pitt, Syracuse, UNC, all bowl teams. They're all good teams. So that offense has not been tweaked at all. The only tweaks I could see are two things. I would expect, I'm going to guess that Ozzy Trapelo doesn't play. That's again just a guess. Not sure, but that's where I'm at. I'm wondering also about Drew Kendall. I'm just starting to, I heard Mel Kiper had him as this number 2 center. If he's got him on his draft board and he's like 23, I'm starting to worry if he might actually enter the NFL draft and we're gonna have a new center next year, which will probably be Otto Hess, but I'm not 100% sure. Excuse me. So that could be impacted, but as we've seen all year, this is crazy, but BC has depth at offensive line. You can plug in Dwayne Alec. You can plug in and move some guys around. You move like Logan Taylor to tackle. You move Kevin Klein to tackle. There's a bunch of different things you can do. So I think the offense is going to be okay, and we'll be able to move the ball against Nebraska's defense. And I think BC's defense is talented enough to slow down Dylan Raiola and prevent Nebraska from scoring a lot of points. I think BC has played better offenses than Nebraska in the last month, and they've had better success. Like, I think UNC has a better offense. I mean, they stuffed Omarion Hampton and made him into nothing. They did the same thing basically against Pitt. I know Pitt was playing with their backup quarterback, but their offense was basically kind of held in check as well. So I don't, Nebraska, their offense was not very prolific. I believe they averaged was 23 points a game. So they're not the most prolific. And a lot of that scoring, as Mitchell Wolf of Eagle Insider, who's going to come join us later this week, came in a handful of games. It was against Wisconsin and a few other teams. But like, if you look at their scoring, some of their other games are they're just not showing up. So I think Tim Lewis is a smart defensive coordinator. I think he's going to be able to figure out ways to confuse Raiola again and to get guys like Q Hutchins going and guys like Ty Clements. Because again, on the defensive side of the ball, the other name we're going to have to watch for is Cam Horsley. I've not seen him in any practice reports or pictures or anything like that. So the combination of Horsley, Trapelo, and Ezeiruaku are the three to watch for. And so when you're talking about Nebraska losing a lot of guys to the transfer portal, I think it's also fair to say BC's losing some talent too, but that's more for opt-outs, and I'm not sure where that's going to go. One last thought about the opt-outs while we're here is I wanted to mention that I saw that Colorado has insurance policies on all their draft eligible players for these bowl games. Not sure if BC is doing that, but I would love to see that. I feel like that is the answer to a lot of these players choosing not to play in the bowls. If you can get an insurance policy that equals 1 year, whatever I'm not an insurance person, but will financially make sure that they're okay if they ever get hurt. I look at what was his name, Butts on Michigan, that got hurt and his whole career was gone. So I look at all of that, and I just look and I would say it would be so great if all three of those players, Horsley, Trapelo, and Ezeiruaku, played. Like they work so hard with this team all year. Part of them really does want to play if that's what they're thinking. Other part of them is going, this could financially hurt me. If insurance policies is the answer to this, I hope BC takes advantage of that in the future, because losing the players that get you there kind of takes the fun out of these bowl games these last 5 or so years. Like having your B team play against their B team because of the portal and opt-outs it's a little different. It's not the same as bowl games that we saw when we were younger. So just a thought there. Now in our final segment, it's Christmas time, and I want to tell you my Christmas wish list for BC Athletics. I'm going to go through some of the major sports, give you some of what I hope they find under their Christmas tree for the upcoming year. I'll tell you all about that in just a moment. I love going to theater, sports, and concerts, and I love using Game Time because Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better, and it's the perfect gift. They have Game Time Picks, which filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Now, I went to a BC Virginia game last year using Game Time. It was raining out. I got good seats. I got good all in pricing, which means I knew the exact price I was paying. And I used their seat finder so that I knew exactly where I was sitting. It was perfect. When I tell you this, I need you to also check out Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is Game Time. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black. Merry Christmas to all of you out there, and we're going to talk about Christmas now, too. Now, I'm doing a little fun here. Let's have a little fun here for our Christmas episode because I will not be doing one for the 25th. Sorry, it's not worth me recording it, and I've got a lot to do today. I got Christmas shopping still to do, wrapping presents. I got a party to get to. So this is our Christmas episode, and for Christmas, you want gifts, right? That's part of the fun of Christmas is the gifts. So I want to look at BC athletics. What gifts do they need for this upcoming season? Let's start with football. Underneath that Christmas tree, I hope Bill O'Brien finds a new punter. Someone who can hit the ball 43 yards a punt and not off the side of his foot and not muff punts and not line drives when they're not supposed to be line drives. Just someone who can kick a bleeping ball. I think that would be the perfect gift for a coach like Bill O'Brien. I think that would be a great gift. I also hope that for Bill O'Brien and the BC football team, that they continue to find new fans. I think this is an exciting team, the most exciting team I've seen since Jeff Jagodzinski's time, with a likable new quarterback, depth, talent, and discipline. They're BC to the core. They are a team that is hard nosed. And it killed me to see the end of the season when it was half empty, and it kills me when the fans leave at halftime. So to see the fan support to continue to grow will only help this program grow. Those are my two wishes for the football team. For basketball, underneath that Christmas tree, I hope they find themselves. They figure something out because right now this basketball team is deader than Jacob Marley. They have no pulse. They are not very good. And it doesn't seem like there's any end to this. I feel like I'm in the ghost of. I feel like I'm sitting next to the ghost of Christmas Future, and he's showing me, Cooper Flagg scoring 30 points and BC losing by 40 to Duke, and not making the ACC tournament, and then something. So my hope is that whatever BC basketball needs, they find it. Whether it's a new coach, some sort of they come together at the end of the season and figure something out with some momentum. If they're not going to do that, I hope that's what they find. For BC hockey, I hope they find their national championship. It's been a tough road this first part of the season. They're still in the top 5, but they have played a buzzsaw schedule, and they have come out still in the top 5. They are building themselves up for a tough run to Hockey East championships, bean pots, and hopefully a Frozen Four national championship. The talent may not be as top heavy as in years past, but there's still certainly a lot of talent on this team. So Greg Brown worked his team's tail off in the last year. I hope they find a national championship. For baseball, I hope they find some more continued improvement under Tonda and Tornado. They have probably one of the best transfer portal classes BC's ever had. So maybe this is the year that they pull something out again. And for here at Locked On BC, underneath my Christmas tree, I like to have just another fun year. Nothing is worse than recording and doing this daily when the product is dead. Bill O'Brien brought me that this year. Something interesting for you guys all to get engaged with and to be interested in. I want another year of that. I don't want to be talking about how bad things are. I want to talk about fun things like getting Dylan Lonergan, beating Syracuse, getting to the Pinstripe Bowl, beating the 4.5-point win total spread that they had. I want some fun with you guys. It's much more fun doing it this way. So thank you. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas with your family and friends. This is AJ Black. Follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. Check out Eagle Insider. Come over and get a 50% off deal right now. You can get all our VIP access, and I hope you join us over there as well. Hit that like and subscribe button. We're at 2,002 subscribers on YouTube. Let's make it more. Thank you all. We'll see you all again. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. And thank you for making Locked On Boston College your first listen every